Hey y'all, it's Gord. Hippie Unplugged. Once again. Sorry there hasn't been a bunch this month, but you already had one. And this one, of course, comes free. You only pay for one a month. This one I won't put up as a pay, so it should all go well. But pitter patter get at her, Gord. I'm talking about racism. I've had a few of you have asked me to talk about it, and I talked about it once because you asked, are Canadians really less racist? It was quite a long time ago. I can't remember exactly what the discussion was. Sorry, fixing my hair. As usual, I don't edit the unplugged. There's so much work to do in keeping this channel going. This won't get edited, so if I make a mistake, if I flub, if I blah, 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 it's going to stay. But I wanted to talk about racism because it has become so, okay, I'm going to say it, so fucking stupid. It has become ridiculous to the point that the word racist means nothing anymore. And yeah, I know a few of my followers don't like Trump. I personally like him. I even on a political side like him. It's a breath of fresh air to not have the pomp and circumstance that involves political life. They should not be acting separate from us because they are not separate from us. Trump at least just acts like Trump. He isn't putting on a false front. Do I agree with everything he says? No. Do I think he can be a real jerk? Oh, yes, he can. So can most of us. There are many times that many of us just want to say something curt and mean and rude, and sometimes we do. Should he not do it in public life? I don't agree with that. I don't think that a person in public life needs to put themselves up 1 to 10 levels higher than the rest of us because they don't act better, they don't perform better, they are not better. They're just one of us who happen to follow a political line. I took political science in university. I thought of getting into politics, and then I realized no, I want people to trust and like me. I don't want to spend my whole life defending my position. But then I get into a position like this where I doubt I could do this video on my regular channel and not get a whole bunch of hate. But again, I am not defending Trump. I'm not saying Trump is a nice guy. You haven't heard that. But I will say this, Trump is not a racist. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean you can call them names and insist it sticks. And the left seems to be doing that. Does Trump pick on people? For sure. He likes to give them names and all that. I don't agree with all his methods, but there is method to his madness. And I'm going to give you a really clear example of why the left always calling racism is going to get Trump reelected. Trump got mad at a black man, and I'm going to get much of this wrong because it was weeks ago, who is the congressman in charge of a certain district, and Trump called him incompetent, put down his district as a place of junk, you know, and because the guy was black, Cummings, I think, Eli, because he was black, everyone said, oh, racist. Yet on the same day, he called out Nancy Pelosi and her constituency as also being a dump and poorly managed and all that stuff. The exact attack he did on Elijah Cummings, he did on Nancy Pelosi. Elijah's black, Nancy's as white as I am. So where's the racism? Did he say this black guy? No. That's my point that I'm trying to make, and this situation makes the point the clearest. It isn't the only situation, or I wouldn't be speaking on it. Just because somebody criticizes somebody in a protected class, and we shouldn't have any protected classes, but because they do doesn't mean they're attacking them for the reason that that class is protected. Do you know what I mean? If I take a poor person who is, if I insult somebody who's poor, does that mean I hate everybody who's poor? Does that mean I'm a poorist? Bad analogy, but you understand what I mean. I hope you understand what I mean. I hope I'm getting it through. The fog is starting to lift in my brain, and I'm trying to get some of this stuff. So, if I attack someone who's black because they're black, I am a racist. Call me it, call me it, call me it. But if I attack somebody for a position they hold, a thought they have, a feeling they have espoused, and they happen to be black, that does not make me a racist. I might still be a racist, but what I'm doing, my attack, is not a racist attack. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. I'm not a racist. I have 3 Native children and 1 Russian child. I believe in the coexistence of all. But just because I believe in that doesn't mean there aren't some people of minorities with whom I'm going to disagree. And when I disagree with them, it has zero to do with their race, color, creed, or religion. It has to do with their position, with whatever they have espoused. Now, I'm a person who, even if I disagree with you, I might just say, you know what? Let's agree to disagree. Let's let it go. Because that's the Canadian way, and that's why in Canada we tend to have less talk of racism, because if you let it go, it goes away. Society is on a constant incline to becoming more and more, I hate the word woke, but more and more congenial, more and more friendly. Every single decade, the amount of hatred, racism, war, crime, all those things go down every single decade. And the amount of positivity, inclusivity goes way up every single year. Look it up. I really encourage people to say, to ask Google, are we better off today than we were 20 years ago? And you will see a whole plethora of websites that show that in everything that counts, safety, war, crime, everything that counts, the bad stuff's down and the good stuff's up. So if we just let it go and stop calling it out, and incorrectly calling it out, let's change that. If we keep calling out racism every time we see it, we start to do what's happening today, and we call it out incorrectly. And then we call it out more. Then more people call it out and call it back at you. Next thing you know, everyone's screaming racist, and the word no longer has any power. Racists will exist forever. There will always be people that think that whatever group they belong in, their group is the best, and everything else sucks. That doesn't make them right, and it doesn't make them, therefore, okay to attack. It's not good to attack. What we need to do is, if there's blatant racism, point it out to me. I'll help you fight it. If it's something blatant, yeah. But the rest we have to just let go. It will take care of itself. The really rough stuff, yeah, it's got to be called out. When it's in a society, when it's a law is racist, or a certain fundamental program of the government is racist, has racism built into it, we as a society have to fight that. Fight it hard. But if a neighbor just always kind of spits when he sees a person of color or something like that, outright he's racist. Let him be. He's not going to build a harm that's going to harm society or you. But if he does, you have to attack it. You know what I mean? I'm walking a fence here trying to say something that I hope all of you understand. And if you don't, I hope you'll politely disagree with me and we'll have a conversation about it. I've always held this close to my chest. I've always felt that the more we call out this stuff, the more we bring attention to the people who feel poorly, and the more it becomes a part of society. Where we let it's the same as raising a kid. If every single time they do something that is untoward, not quite right, not within the teachings that you're trying to raise them on, and if every single time we did that, we called them out on it, and I've met a few moms and dads that would do that, that kid's going to grow up absolutely hating authority. And it isn't going to solve the problem. But if instead we ignore the few bad things they're doing and just look the other way, you hear a bad word, they maybe just say no, let it go. Let it go. Accept the important stuff. But on the other hand, when they do well, you applaud, you reward, you expand on what they've done and make it a brilliant thing. Then you get a child who, negative, my negative attitude gets nothing from my parents, nothing from my school. But when I'm good, wow, do I get accolades. They're not going to continue the bad behavior. The way we raise our children is the way we need to live in society. Ignore the small bad. Reward the good, even if small. And slowly, that small becomes tiny and and microscopic. And then it just disappears. Will it always be forever gone? No. None of this, let's wipe out racism, let's wipe out hatred. You're never going to get rid of the few broken people. But if you keep pointing out the broken people, more and more broken people are going to come forward. More and more broken people are going to come out of that. Hippie Unplugged. Never a dull moment. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, let's talk. Let's talk. We're friends. Peace. Cheers. Love and harmony. And, by the way, all of you, you guys rock. You're the reason I have this channel. Peace.